The roots of Nuremberg Code are in a trial with criminals, war criminals of the Second World War, of German Nazi criminals. Today it's 455th day of our appeal, and today is also 78th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. 78 years ago, Germany signed capitulations to hands of allies. France, England, the United States, and Russia. Today is the 78th anniversary of the end of the Second World War, and people liberated by Russian army must not today celebrate the anniversary with Russian flags in their hands. If they do so, they go to jail. Yes, they go to jail. Well, looks like the society is forgetting the Second World War and Nuremberg as well. Well, we are here, you, Peter Cosgrove, not to forget about it.
Very well spoken. Thank you, Misha, for that information. And there's a lot of people in this country of age who have been through part of this and know what it's really like, how far they will go. If the people don't stand up and the people's representative, that's you, Mr. Sir Peter Cosgrove, at the moment, don't stand up, it'll be on your head. And you will be tried as well for a crime against humanity. Don't like those accusations? Come get me. Sir Peter Cosgrove, as Acting Governor General, it is your duty to stand up when the people require it, regardless if you're there for 11 days or 11 minutes. If you know of a cause that requires the Governor General to stand up against a tyrannical government, you need to act immediately. This is your call. The Australian people have had enough of the tyrannical government, ordering people to take medical procedures, locking people in their houses as if they were in concentration camps. In fact, building concentration camps to house people. Stopping people travelling to see loved ones on their deathbed. Stopping people seeing loved ones at a funeral. Stopping people visiting their grandparents or elders in homes. All of these things are tyrannical government at play. Shooting unarmed civilians in the back. Shooting men and women and children. A 14-year-old boy in the face, unarmed. And yet, a week beforehand allowed Black Lives Matter marches. How about all Australian lives and all lives for that matter? Matter? We can just start with the Nuremberg principles. The Nuremberg trial and its principles does not have a use-by date, does not expire, and still counts today. And it's been published by the UN more than once. I'll quote from the Copyright UN Nations 2005, like the UN Nations has a copyright on the Nuremberg Code. but I will quote it anyway. Principles of international law recognised in the Charter of the Nuremberg Tribunal in the judgment of the Tribunal. Principle 1. Any person who commits an act constitutes a crime under international law is responsible therefore and liable for punishment. We are holding most of the government liable for punishment under international law. You don't like it, come and get me. Principle 2. The fact that international law does not impose a penalty for the act which constitutes a crime under international law does not relieve the person who committed the act from responsibility under international law. Forced medical procedure without informed consent is an international crime punishable under law. So in this case, there is a crime under international law which the Australian government has broken. Again, I am calling them liable under international law for a crime against humanity. Again, don't like it, come and get me. Principle 3. The fact that a person who committed an act which constitutes a crime, which I just told you about, under international law, acted as head of state or responsible government official does not relieve him or her responsibility under international law. Governor General, even acting, time to stand up. You've been informed of a crime of the most heinous type. Stand up for the people. Principle 4. The fact that the person acted in pursuit of an order of his or her government or of a superior does not relieve him from responsibility under international law, provided a moral choice was in fact possible. I can guarantee there was a moral choice available to every single one of those people who decided to force a medical procedure on people by taking away their jobs so they couldn't feed their loved ones, by stopping them to be able to travel to see their loved ones. That is a crime against humanity under international law. Principle 5. Any person charged with a crime under international law has the right to a fair trial on the facts and the law. That is all we ask. We're not a lynch mob. We want you put to trial under the law with the facts. And not just your side of the facts, all of the facts. That would be scary for you, wouldn't it? Principle 6. The crimes hereinafter are punishable crimes under international law. Planning, preparation, or initiation of aggression or war in violation of international treaties, agreements and assurances. We actually helped draft 2 of those treaties and signed on in 2006 and 2016. Your own treaties, you broke them. Crime against humanity. Participation in a common plan or conspiracy for the accomplishment of any of the acts mentioned underneath. Here we go. Violations of laws or customs, which include but are not limited to murder. When you force a medical procedure on someone without their informed consent and they passed away, that is manslaughter/murder. Ill treatment. When you stop people from going to see their loved ones as they are passing away, when you lock them in their homes for 240 days. Ill treatment. Deportation. when you force people to go back to their places of residence and stay there for 240 days, didn't allow them to travel to work, etc., etc. Deportation. Slave labour. When you handed out infringement notices and fines for people who dared to pursue their liberties and their freedom, and force them to go to work to pay these fines, infringement notices, that would be slave labour. Occupying a territory. We know the corporation is occupying the Australian people's house. Ill treatment of prisoners of war. When you're shooting civilians in the back, young children in the face, unarmed, that's war. And that's ill treatment of those people. Slamming old ladies to the ground and spraying it with pepper spray. I know you came out with this excuse, I was a young person dressed as an old lady. Doesn't mean you slam them to the ground and spray them in the face anyway, but we know that's a lie. Wanting the destruction of towns, villages and cities. Whether manipulation, whether you intended it to destroy towns or not, is wanton destruction. Crimes against humanity, murder, experimentation. You came out and admitted it was an experimental drug. And the only way you could get it across the OK was to put a prize-winning drug classed as the second most important discovery, medical discovery in the world, listed as a poison. Isn't it funny how 2 months ago, or a month ago, it was taken off the poison list again? Because you lied so you could start your experiment without informed consent of the Australian people. Persecutions on political, racial or religious grounds. Well, those people you shot in the back were voicing their political concerns. Criminal Code Act 1995 83.4, Section 1, A, B, C and D gives them the right to do that. Never mind the Nuremberg Code. You broke your own laws. You broke international criminal law. Crimes against humanity. So Peter Cosgrave, are you going to stand up or not? Or are you going to be another puppet? Principle 7, complicity in the commission of a crime against peace, a crime against war, a crime against humanity is set forth in Principle 6, is a crime under international law. I call you out, criminals. Day in court, thank you. And I think a day in court with your peers of the Australian people, men and women, and I reckon children as well.